How do you know when something's not working out and when you should, quote unquote, just give it up?
That's a difficult question. I would say there's more of an art to that than there is a solid line answer. Okay. But when you get to the point where you so this is where separating emotion from the actual discipline of practicing business and making decisions is extremely important, because if you look at a situation emotionally that's frustrating and you're not where you want to be, you can oftentimes talk yourself out of it by saying, this is never going to work, blah, 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 and give yourself all the negative ammunition you need to shut it down. And that comes from a place of emotion, not logic. And so when you're frustrated and you're in business and things aren't working out and they're not going the way that you want them to go, and you legitimately can't see it working when you are not emotional, that's when it's time to change course. But the reason most people fuck up is because they do that too soon when they're highly charged emotionally. So they get emotional, they get excited, frustrated, scared, whatever it is, panicked, and then they fucking change, right?
Yeah.
And then every time they do that, they change it. And what happens is they never give themselves the time to allow the plan to actually materialize, and that costs them the plan. So basically, they end up going from thing to thing to thing over and over and over, and nothing works. And then they get bitter. They're like, fuck this, it doesn't work. Look, dude, there's only two reasons that you aren't getting where you want to be. One, you're working the wrong plan, or two, you haven't been working the right plan long enough.
Right.
All right. So you have to know when to make that decision, because it's a very crucial one. So my suggestion on that situation is take all the emotion off the table. All right. Are you just frustrated? Like, dude, you know better than anyone.
Yeah.
Fucking 3 days a week, I want to quit.
Yeah.
Like, DJ's with me 24 hours a day, pretty much. My waking hours, he's right next to me. And he knows this is true. 3 of the days out of the fucking 7, I'm like, fuck this. I'm fucking moving to Florida. Fuck everything. Like, dude, like, that's how it is. But I never do it because I love it. And I'm just emotionally frustrated.
Right.
And you guys all know that I just vent, and then it doesn't really mean shit. Right.
But then you go back to running the play.
Yeah, I go back to running the play immediately.
Right.
And so it sounds like I'm being a bitch, and I am, but I'm just venting and I'm still operating. So the things that we have to understand is like, are we just frustrated and then we're changing? Or is there a real logical reason to change the plan down the road?
Right.
And so that's how I would recommend someone making that decision.
So instead of just thinking about changing what you're doing, change how you're doing it, maybe?
Could be. There could be a number of things. It could be your entire plan is totally fucking not going to work.
It's just garbage.
It could be we're going to make a 10-degree turn and we're going to end up in a totally different place. It could be we need to make a 30-degree turn or a 180 turn.
Right.
Who knows? But the point is that you have to evaluate, readjust, and then execute. And that can only be done when you're unemotional. Otherwise, you're going to fuck yourself.
On the flip side of that, though, so following up with that, so for entrepreneurs that are just getting started, right? Like, what are some signs that you saw in your early days of business that kind of like, okay, I'm fucking doing it. Like, I'm doing it right. Like, I know I'm on the right path. I know there's a bigger reward, but like, can you look back and was there a moment where you were like, fuck, I'm winning. Like, I get it. I'm getting it, not getting it.
Yeah, but that didn't come for me till I was probably 12, 13 years in, I don't think. The first 10 years, I was just trying to survive, dude. And right. I was stupid. This is why I tell you guys, like, you guys are, a lot of you guys are probably much smarter than me. It takes me a long time to fucking, to learn my lesson sometimes. So I was stupid and I sat in the stores and I tried to sell people as much shit as I fucking could. And they would get buyer's remorse. They wouldn't return. They would tell their friends not to go in there because it was pushy and fucking we never grew.
Right.
It wasn't until I had an epiphany where I truly changed my style and understanding of business where Chris and I, we were 10 years into business roughly, and we weren't making very much money. It was very, very difficult. We didn't have any we didn't have any resources to call upon. There were no banks. There was no trust fund. There was no fucking nothing. And we weren't making it. And so what we went and explored other opportunities. We had talks about how we would transition out, what he was going to do, what I was going to do. And, we went and explored those opportunities. And then, for me, I didn't have many because I didn't have a degree. And at that time, you had to have a degree to get a job then. It's not here now it's a little bit different, but yeah, dude, we both realized that like there was only in our business, there was a specific aspect of what we did that was really cool. And what it was in between, trying to sell shit, we would actually have people that would go out and lose 100 pounds in 6 months. Right. And they'd come back and they'd you couldn't recognize them, bro. They'd be crying. They'd be saying, thank you. And back then that rarely happened. It only happened, every once in a while, because we weren't doing it right. And so we had a real candid talk, which was, hey, dude, I know we're not making the money and we may never make the money that we want, but this is something that we're not going to get anywhere else. And so we made a decision at that point then to rededicate ourselves to the business, but make sure that we replicated that result as much as possible. The person who truly changed. And when we did that, bro, we grew 5 years in a row, 100% in the worst economy, that's existed post
Great
Depression. Yeah. Right. So, people got results. They told people, more people came in and, there we went. And not only were we doing the right thing, we were fulfilled. We were making more money. The business was growing. And every time we've gotten off track over the course of 23 years, it always comes back to the same thing, getting refocused on helping the customers with what they need. And we kind of discovered it by accident. We got, so the first 10 years, it was fucking garbage. I mean, I was shitty at business. And so once I started seeing that growth of 110, 100%, 5 years in a row, when I got to, the fourth and fifth year, I started to have a little confidence. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, dude, we're getting lucky. Now I started to figure out the puzzle. Right. And then, now I know that puzzle or that mystery so well that it's not a mystery to me.
It's an equation. Yeah.
Yeah. It only sounds like a mystery if you're not used to it or you don't understand it. But to me, it's very simple. And so when I figured that out, that when I truly saw that if we helped people and did it the right thing, their business would grow, that's when I knew we were going to go.
Right. And the moment you went off course,
we'll lose.
Yep.
And it's no different. The moment we go off course tomorrow, we're going to fucking lose. Same thing. So there's no point in time where you can't do that. It never comes, and it should have never come. That's the best thing about our company. Dude, the best fucking thing about what I do is walking down the hall here and running into somebody who I may have never seen before. And one of the guys or the girls that work here introduces me and they're like, hey, this is Sam, lost 200 pounds here. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, dude, and that happens every day here. But like, that is literally like, there's nothing better than that. Hey guys, do me a favor. If you enjoyed that clip, if it made you laugh, if it made you think, if it made you have a new perspective, go over to iTunes. Check out the full length podcast. You're going to like it.